welcome to the Upshot, multi-world disc golf podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield on this Thursday, April 18th. We are one day before the start of the Music City Open in Nashville. Josh, I'm in Nashville. I'm staying in my brother's apartment. He's out of town this week, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's nice I can stay at his place, but obviously I would have liked to have seen him.
Sure.
So I got in last night late from Las Vegas. I was at the broadcasting conference in Las Vegas. Flew here, got in late, got here, crashed. Get up this morning. I'm like stumbling around the house. I'm like, okay, I got to make some coffee. So I go figure out what his coffee situation is. He's got a kettle and like a pour over type deal. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
So he's got a coffee grinder. I'm like, okay, we grind the coffee, set it up, put the kettle, put some water, put it on the stove, go back out while I'm waiting for the kettle, come back in, and the kettle is just full on smoking. Smoke is filling the room. And I'm like, whoa, like, was there like oil on this electric stove? And I pick up the kettle and it's just like molten plastic just going everywhere. Gets on my hand, burned the shit out of myself. Like, it was an electric kettle that I put onto the stove. So like toxic fumes fill the home, which is why we're starting this podcast like an hour late, as I like had to fumigate the house. In my defense, this kettle looks basically exactly like the normal tea kettle that I have in New York. It's like the same exact design style. And so I just like, it wasn't obvious at all that it had a plastic base, but that's what I'm doing. I did manage to heat up water and make coffee though. So
for reference for everybody, Charlie texts me when we're supposed to start and goes, I've got a kitchen emergency. I'm running late. And I'm like, what the heck of a kind of a kitchen emergency? Like, I'm thinking like grease fire, right? But like, it's still a grease fire. At the end of the day, you throw a towel over it and some baking soda and it's usually done. But yeah, that's a real kitchen disaster. I'm impressed.
I was deep frying things at 8 a.m.
right? Like your baking fire. I don't know, man.
So I'm sorry, Thomas. I will get you a new electric kettle. It's just like I got to clean up plastic all over the kitchen. It was like,
I just cannot imagine.
Insane.
That sounds terrible.
Anyway, we're off and rolling, and coffee is happening, so that's great. We've got a fun kind of quick show for you today. We were really hoping to get Eagle McMahon on for an interview. There's still a chance that we will. If it happens, like, we're going to plug the interview in later. But Eagle's a little bit of a question mark. I mean, that's been the big story. Let's just kind of cut right to the chase. This is his first event of the season, or is supposed to be. But he has been posting on Instagram that he's been dealing with some back issues and is a little bit... it sounds like a game time decision. So he may play, he may not. It doesn't appear to be his shoulder, but just uncomfortable back pain. And so I think, recording this Thursday morning, we should know more by this afternoon. I imagine he'll be at the press conference later today. And he'll probably, he may not make a decision until overnight or even tomorrow morning about whether or not he's going to play. But Josh, assuming he does play, what are you looking for from Eagle this week?
I think that's a great question in terms of setting expectations. I think I look for a couple of things. Number one, the Music City Open has opportunities on a couple of holes where you get to make decisions about whether you're going to play aggressive and take hard, really aggressive lines that require real distance, or if you're going to kind of play the safe fairway shot. I'm curious to know which of those Eagle takes. Does he feel comfortable pushing the disc out and playing the distance necessary, 500 feet, that you would expect of Eagle's game? Number two is I'm curious to see what his putting form looks like. That it's not to say that the putting is super like strenuous on that shoulder, but given the time off that he had, I'm curious to know, did he keep that putting form up? Are his circle two putts going to drop like they used to? or is that going to be some rust that he's going to have to work off and get kind of back into form? I think that might actually say more about how like quick we can expect him to start being on the podium, more so than even if he's like throwing comfortably well. The third thing that I'm waiting to see is Eagle throwing any forehands at all? If he is stuck in some deep bush, is he pitching out? Is he throwing 100-foot, just little baby flex with a putter? Is he throwing power forehands, right? Like, I don't know where that is in terms of like comfortability with a tournament decision time. So those are the three things that I'm looking for when I watch Eagle play this weekend.
Yeah, I'm certainly not expecting, if he finishes 15th, I think that would be a great start. It's like there's you can't expect somebody to come back and just be ready to rock. I mean, anything inside the top 10 would be like, oh, wow, like he's ready to go. But I mean, now with the back thing, it kind of like adds a level of uncertainty, and it makes it difficult maybe to evaluate if he does decide to play, whether he, if he looks bad because his back hurts, that's totally a separate thing from he looks bad because his shoulder isn't right. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, want to see him get back and playing and 100% as soon as possible. He's tied with Gannon as the second highest rated player in the field at 1049. Although the way AB is playing right now, his rating should be at the top of the pack. Hashtag AB 1050. That's for walk. All right. We got a bunch to get to. I think it makes sense to me, Josh, to hit this 30-second rule stuff first, kind of some stuff we want to catch up on. And so we're going to do it. Let's rock and roll. We have 30 seconds to talk about each topic, and if we go over, well, maybe it matters this year. It seems to matter a little bit more. Josh, take it away.
Well, 30-second rule this week, Charlie, is, I mean, this feels like a feature program here. We are loaded
jam-packed
with all sorts of topics, and there's a lot of them. So let's start at the top. I think that's been one of the biggest pieces of discussion. Disc Golf Pro Tour has signed a comprehensive partnership with US Integrity. US Integrity is a company that regulates sports gambling and uses analytics in order to try and prevent things like internal betting, cheating. Look over at the NBA right now. That is the role of US Integrity. So this isn't a platform to bet on disc golf. It is kind of what they see as the first steps to, as they say, create and is centered on the values of transparency, accountability, and security from day one when they do start betting.
Yeah, I'm. There's more here than I think maybe is clear in this press release. Obviously, the Pro Tour is interested in being able to have gambling happening, and I would imagine that it's certainly possible that they've hit roadblocks with the companies like DraftKings, FanDuel, etc. Because these companies are looking at disc golf and they're saying, hang on a second, like, how much do these players make? We're not going to start putting lines up unless we have some assurance that there's not going to be illegal match fixing and things going on. Because the fact is, with the amount of money that many players on tour are making, it would be extremely easy for someone to shave strokes, basically, play badly intentionally in order to, fulfill some sort of over-under on strokes if, let's say, that was a line that was available, and, have some, betting ring say, hey, we'll pay you $15,000 if you shoot a 75 instead of a 72. Whatever. Whether that's actually happened, I don't know. I have some more questions about this overall, but clearly the Pro Tour is at least taking this step to say, like, hey, we are going to take this really seriously. And it makes sense in a sport where you have people barely eking out a living. Because, like, for instance, in tennis, like lower levels of tennis, this is a huge problem. It's an active current problem that's happening now. Like, there is definitely low tier ATP players who are pocketing money from betting, syndicates to hit some bad forehands and lose a set by 3 instead of 2. So, in reality, would this be a problem? I kind of doubt it, because I would imagine that if DraftKings, for instance, came in and started to make lines, they would just make winner lines.
Sure.
And like, there's no real risk of if you can only bet on something to win. You can't, there's nothing you can do there. Like oh, we'll pay you $10,000 to win. Okay, well, sure, but like that's we would all like to go win on the Pro Tour.
Right, exactly.
So I don't really know if this signals much besides the fact that the Pro Tour is taking it seriously and is hoping to open up the like legal sports betting options.
Yeah. Comes at the same time the NBA gives a lifetime ban to Jonte Porter for gambling for this exact same thing.
What an idiot that guy is, man.
Not wrong. Next up, 30-second rule. Chris Dickerson announces on Instagram that he had been diagnosed with moderate to severe osteoarthritis in his hip, as well as a vascular necrosis. Basically, the doctors are telling him that he can continue to play. He needs to continue to ensure that blood flow is getting to that area. They don't want him to get a hip replacement, which is what they say is the ultimate treatment for this arthritis. They would like him to wait till he's 50, according to his post. And so, he's looking at other alternatives and treatment options into how he can continue to play. But he says that this is not going to derail his disc golf career and that he continues to plan on playing.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a sense of exactly like what this will mean for him moving forward. I kind of get the feeling, given that he's like still playing pretty well right now, that this is largely something that might affect him when he gets into his older years, when he's a little bit less competitive as a player. But I think also probably, as much as it's disappointing to get the diagnosis, it might be helpful to know what's going on. Like if you are dealing with some hip pain, and say, okay, well now I know this is happening. How do I treat it in such a way that I'm still able to play, get through a weekend, recover properly, etc. But yeah, it sucks. It really sucks.
Next, PDGA is auctioning IDGC signs as efforts to help rebuild the rest and restore the course in WR Jackson. You can go over to pdga.com. They've got a press release up entitled "Own a Piece of the IDGC" that has a link over to this auction, and you can buy everything from like next tee signs. You can buy a full set of all 18 baskets if you want WR Jackson.
If you want all 18 WR Jackson baskets, it's only $25,000.
That's it. for the killer deal. But yeah, they have all the tee signs up, all the baskets individually. There are some bids on them. So you can go over and get a sign if you're interested. So
yeah, that's a great idea. The whole 18 WR Jackson basket is bid up to $700 right now. 13 bids. So some of this stuff like people are interested in. Josh,
yeah,
I bought an XT sign.
Did you really?
I did.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know when I'm going to get it. Eventually, it's going to go up on my wall that will be adorned with many disc golf things when I actually get around to doing all that. But yeah, I bought an XT sign, and so helping out the PDGA a little bit with their restoration. And so yeah, go check it out. I mean, I think you can get like it's not like everything's super expensive. I think I bought my sign for $20.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
No. So. Yeah. I think if you want something, it's cool. Like you can get an XT sign for $20. Like if you have like a little man cave or something, it'd be perfect for it.
Yeah, they look pretty nice.
Yeah,
that's gonna go nice on your wall.
It's cool. It's cool little memorabilia. I mean, it's I this is the kind of thing that disc golf can probably start to do more of. We're starting to see like this more like auction-y collector's market starting to come to shape. This like the disc golf trading card stuff. I mean, they've been pushing that a ton.
Hard. Yeah.
I'm not so sure that's for me, but there must be a market.
Definitely picked up during COVID, that card or like pack opening thing. So makes sense. Charlie, we neglected to do Pursewatch at the end of Jonesboro. It's difficult to do during the rapid reacts because oftentimes numbers aren't published. Yeah. Sometimes we can get them in advance, but if not, we're typically waiting until the Tuesday show just because of access to numbers. So Pursewatch is entered, Charlie. We've got it. Do you want to run through the numbers?
Let's run through the numbers. Total purse $80,700. That was $10,000 to the MPO winner, $57.50 to the FPO winner. That purse is up just 2.5% from 2023, and it is the smallest purse of the season so far on the Pro Tour, coming in just below Texas State's, but still hitting that 80K mark, which sort of feels like probably what the floor is.
Yep.
I would have to think. We heard from the TD last week that they were going to hit the minimum added cash, but that they were waiting on spectator numbers. I got to be honest, Josh, that might have been the lightest attended tournament of the season. There were not a lot of fans out there. So I'm interested to see what happens in Nashville this weekend.
I'm worried that we're not going to start seeing crowds until we get to later in the season.
I feel like Worlds is going to be jammed.
Yep.
USDGC is going to be jammed.
MVP Open.
But I kind of wonder, like, are people starting to heavily prioritize going to those big events over the smaller local ones?
That's what it feels
but on the
like.
other hand, like, Arkansas, like, what's the... Is that, like, it's not a disc golf, like, mecca or anything like that. So it's interesting to keep an eye on this. But purses have kind of been going in the wrong direction, interestingly. After, we hit the high mark with Waco at 103,000, we've actually seen a decline at Open at Austin at 87,000, Texas State's 82,000, and now Jonesboro 80,000. I don't expect that to continue, but I just wanted to point it out. Waco was an elite plus, I will say.
That is true. The other thing, but I mean, chess.com was 91, and that was above. The one thing that's interesting though, chess.com was $596 per person. Open at Austin was $531 per person. Texas State's was $480 per person. Jonesboro jumped back up to $504 per person.
Yeah.
So they were almost $24 per person more than Texas State's. They had 12 less players. So, that makes up for, I think that clearly covers the $2,000 that they were short of Texas State's.
And it's the proper metric. I mean, this is why we track that.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. Back to our 30-second rule. That we're gonna go down. We're gonna start taking a meandering path around here in disc golf. We're gonna first jump over. It's almost been a month now at this point where Victor Wembanyama got his logo released for what will be his eventual signature shoe. And Charlie, you wanted to have a little bit of discussion on logos, individual brand logos.
Yeah, so take a look at the Wemby logo if you're watching on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, it's like an alien wrapped inside of a basketball shape with like Nike logos on either side. And they released the logo in like a social media video during the eclipse. And it's like a crop circle shot of the logo. And they didn't even specify that it was the Wemby logo. Like, fans just figured that out. It's pretty obvious, I think. But incredible piece of marketing. Amazing logo. And so I wanted to just also take a look, Josh, at some of the Nike basketball logos over the years. Now, everybody knows Jordan, right?
Yes. Yep.
The Jordan Dunk logo. I mean, you can see that, and it's just like totally iconic. So again, I know this is not the world's finest podcast content because it's on audio. It's a little harder to think about these logos. But Josh, I wanted to show these various kind of like iconic player logos that Nike basketball has made. So you've got Shaq, which is like the dunk that says Shaq beneath it.
Yep.
You've got Kobe, which is like the kind of like triangular shape.
They call it the sheath.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah, they call it the sheath logo. But yeah, it's the geometric.
Yeah.
3-point. Yeah.
KD, kind of like a curvilinear that says KD, basically.
Yeah.
LeBron James, which is like a king connected by an LJ. It's kind of hard to describe that one, I guess, but
I love the King James crown, though.
You love that?
I do love that. I think that one is so good.
So the reason I bring this up, Josh, is because we've obviously seen so many players in disc golf building out logos. And I'm just so deeply uninspired by them most of the time. And I just think like this is a great example of what logos should be, which is like, how do you tell your story in a logo?
Yep.
How do you tell, like, Paul Macbeth was kind of early to this, and so he just did his initials, and like, yeah, like, that makes sense. But now we have every player doing their initials. But if you're some mid-tier pro, your initials is not an interesting thing. It's like the best disc golf logos are like Brian Earhart, who has a bear logo with a heart in it. That is
amazing.
Just perfect.
It's
perfect
tier.
Because it's like his nickname. It's a very cool, it's like a cool logo just on its face that you can like wear on a t-shirt and not have people be like, what is that weird disc golf thing? Right? And I think that's what these Nike basketball logos do for me, which is like they're generally cool logos and they tell a story in some way. Right? King James has a crown.
Yeah.
Shaq straight up just has Shaq in the logo, which that makes sense.
And him dunking. And yes.
And like Wemby, the alien logo, like it is perfect,
amazing.
Right? He's like some freak. And like now we have this alien logo. I don't know. I just think disc golfers should think more about what is my story and how do I tell it with my logo. Barella going with like the Arizona AB snake thing, like that's perfect because it's a usage of not only is AB like actually a nickname essentially rather than just his initials, but to like you're getting this iconography in the snake format. It's perfect.
Yep. I think Ricky, the Saki Bomb logo, is also a good one.
Yeah, I'm still a little cool on the whole Saki Bomb like branding, but
that's
from
fine,
a logo perspective, he did commit.
He did a good job too. Like he committed, and that's what you're asking for, and that's it's fine. Like there's other logos that I would say brands that I'd same thing like that's fine, but I think he got your message here and committed to that logo.
Yes.
So it's not just his initials.
Saki Bomb Foundation. Hey, kids. The Saki Bomb Foundation is here. What is a Saki Bomb, you ask? Well, it's either a weapon used to kill people or an alcoholic beverage. Here's a basket. Okay. What's next?
Next up. Caitlin Clark, this is hot off the press today.
We're just giving Nike free advertising today.
We really are. Caitlin Clark is intended to sign. So it's not finalized, but it's expected that she's going to sign an 8-figure deal with Nike to get her own signature shoe. She's turning down offers from Under Armour and other organizations and companies that made offers that were pretty substantial, but is choosing to go with Nike. Guess who Caitlin Clark's agent was for these discussions? I don't know if he was the official agent, but sat in all the meetings. Steph Curry.
No kidding.
Yeah. The article I found said that Steph Curry sat in all these meetings.
So is he getting a cut?
I don't know. I'm telling you like I read it, man.
Damn, dude. How 10 figures?
No, eight figures. 8 figures.
Oh, 8 figures.
Yeah. So tens of millions.
Yeah, that was. I don't know why. I was thinking tens of millions, and so I said 10 figures. When I actually think about what 10 figures would mean, it wouldn't make any sense. So this is amazing. I mean, I think it makes a ton of sense for Nike. I'm very interested to see what the Caitlin Clark logo will be. How do you tell her story in a logo, especially like a super high profile women's basketball athlete? Like, I don't really know that we've had that yet.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is the moment for Nike to be like, okay, now we're going to try to sell so many women's basketball shoes. I think it's awesome. I mean, and it's interesting that this kind of news comes after there's been a lot of conversation about her salary in the WNBA. She signed a rookie deal. She was the top pick in the draft. But the WNBA salaries are pretty thin, especially for rookies.
Yep.
I think it's something like $380,000 over 4 years.
Yeah. She's going to make like just under 80 grand for her rookie year.
And like, so there's been all kinds of discourse about this. And I guess what I would say is that like, hopefully the next collective bargaining agreement can have higher salaries because Caitlin Clark is helping bring notoriety to the league more people are watching. Like, you have to have the revenue to pay out to the players. So
Yep.
I'm sure this will get things moving in the right direction. It definitely feels like the WNBA should like at least have players able to just do that as their only job and not have to go overseas in the off season to make enough money to live their life.
I agree, but good for Caitlin Clark. I mean, this is a heck of a deal.
Cool stuff.
All right, I got one more, Charlie.
All right.
This is in no way related to disc golf. This is my own personal plug that I'm sticking in here because I run 30-second rule, and so this is my opportunity to do so. NHL Board of Directors will be meeting today to vote on a sale that is all but confirmed of the Arizona Coyotes to a NHL team in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Let's go, Josh. Are you gonna bail on the Stars?
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a smooth transition because Arizona manager or owner is keeping the trademarks to the Arizona logo and the Coyotes. His hope is in that he's got 5 years from the NHL to get a new team there, but due to like stadium and land issues with the city, he was not in a position to keep the team with their current stadium conditions. And so he has 5 years to get a new team that will be the new Coyotes down in Arizona. So we are getting all of their staff and players, and then we'll have our own trademark team logo, etc. Look, Coyotes have a really young and talented roster. They have some rookies that have like actually surprised and I think are going to be really good in 5 years. And so I will still be a Stars fan until Utah gets good and I can like have someone to root for in the playoffs. I'll probably be repping both for a long time, if not forever. But I am going, once they get good, I'm gonna be a Utah fan through and through. So
got it.
Very excited about that.
That's fair. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Is that it for 30-second rule?
That's it for 30-second rule.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, picks, Music City Open breakdown. We'll be back.
At Pound, the quality of our gear runs deeper than the stitching. That's why we make everything right here in the US, employing highly skilled, well-paid professionals. From bomb-proof Cordura fabric to YKK zippers and recycled plastics, we source the highest quality US materials to make the most comfortable, durable pack in disc golf. Our lifetime warranty stays with the pack, not the purchaser. So regardless of how you find us, we will be here to make sure your pack stays on the course and out of the landfill. Pound's integrity is held together with more than just thread.
The Upshot is presented by Sunset Lake CBD, a farm that originally started as a dairy farm producing milk and cream for Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but they've since diversified and started growing hemp for CBD. You got to check their products out. This is the highest quality CBD, really super nice packaging, obviously really nice quality products themselves. I've been using the muscle rub when I have sore muscles. Feels fantastic, smells great. Really, really nice to be able to use that instead of, taking Tylenol or something like that. And you can save on Sunset Lake CBD products right now. You just got to go to sunsetlakecbd.com, use coupon code UPSHOT, and you will save 20% off your entire order. And hey, heads up, 420 sale, it's coming soon. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Upshot. Josh, I was just listening to the press conference, which just got started. And Simon was on talking about how he's about to take time off because his second child is on the way. It's very exciting. And he said something interesting, Josh. He said, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this for much longer, given that I have two kids. And it was in the context of answering a question about not really enjoying being out on the road. Like he used to do the RV thing and he really didn't like it. He likes to have a home base. And of course now he has a growing family. And he said, I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this too much longer. Josh, he just signed a 10-year contract. I mean, I guess obviously you could always restructure something if he did in fact decide he didn't want to keep doing it. And maybe that's just something you say when you're like feeling the grind of being out on the road. But I thought that was pretty interesting.
It's April, like you. That's awfully early. April in the year 2 of your $10 million contract. That's you know. Listen, Simon. We talked about this when that deal was signed. Simon is older. He will be in his 40s or 40 when that $10 million 10-year contract is up. And it would not surprise me. I mean, I'm curious to know what the terms are, because I'm sure there's some sort of, there's no way that agreement is written in like, you must be a touring professional. Like, I'm sure there are hard numbers as to how many events he has to play in a season. Sure. And I wonder if Simon just like what if it's like, 5 or 6 or 7 events? I wonder if he just picks that bare minimum number of events, plays those, and then he doesn't tour.
Maybe, maybe he's just saying something in a press conference and he doesn't actually mean he's going to stop playing. Or, there's probably built-in renegotiation periods in this contract anyway. You're not going to sign something that doesn't allow you to potentially take in part of more upside if the sport quadruples or something.
Right.
So, I think if he were to decide to do that, I'm sure that MVP would rework the contract such that everybody's ending up with a fair deal. Just an interesting note. But you know what? I got to be like, Josh, you probably can feel this too already, now having just had a kid. Like, it is a very different experience. You feel a little bit more pulled to be at home. I'm certainly traveling less this year, and it's going to be probably increasingly hard to spend a week at a tournament. And for Simon, I'm sure it's just the same. Like, it's not, they're still people. They're still human beings, just like all of us.
Well, and it would be one thing, and this it's one of those things that it's like we should have seen it coming, because Simon's talked about in years past. He's like, I just want to fly to events. I wish I could get on a plane and fly and then walk off the plane, take an Uber to my Airbnb, and then be at the event. And that's just not super. I mean, it's difficult to travel in that way to different tournaments, given the geographical makeup of the tour.
It's got to hit up Pilot Sam in our Discord, who's a private pilot.
What would that run Simon for a season?
More than he's getting paid by MVP.
More than that $1 million. Yeah. Well, I hear DD's got a helicopter for rent that you can use. So.
Just don't try to throw anything into the rotors because they won't catch.
Yeah.
Speaking of veterans this weekend, again, veteran baskets again this weekend. Get ready, baby. I legitimately am not going to pick Annenberg to win because of it. I was going to pick Gannon. Honest to God, but I'm going to switch my pick. Let's talk about the Music City Open. It is mostly the same course as last year, but like Jonesboro, they are rearranging many of the holes. They're also adding a couple of new holes, making some changes. I think the course is still being tinkered with, like, as we speak. This is happening over on Reddit. I have not been out to the course yet. I'm going to go later today. But there's a hole where they have like a green sign across the gap.
This. Yeah.
But it's not a Mando. But then today, it appears to have been moved so that it is no longer affecting tee shots. It's like now just above the tee pad. I'm really unclear on what exactly is going on. I'm going to try to go and find out. But like, I think there's some holes that the pros really don't like. So they're maybe going to be tinkering with those. So don't, double check. Like, the caddy book may change, or the caddy book may be wrong on some of these holes. So, I don't know. This is a course. It's a temp course. It's in flux still.
Yeah. Well, if you go over to the Ultra preview, we do have the, I guess, a best approximation. Justin Westfall goes over and does our previews, and he gives, according to the stats, last year's 2023 MPO layout was 9,977 feet. This year's layout is put at 11,059 feet, so almost a little over 1,000 feet and change.
I think there's a new very long par 5.
Well, I heard they combined 2 holes to make that.
Maybe that's what Maybe that's what
I
it
think
was.
that's-
But of course, then they had to
Yeah.
add a new hole. So
Right.
there's a super long, I think it's like an 1,100 foot par 5 or something like that.
Let's see. Yeah, Chris Clemens has a post up and talks a little bit about and answers some questions up on Reddit. I don't know if it's his post necessarily, but so no, it's not. There's a post up on Reddit. I don't see an 1,100 foot par 5. 800. There's hole 15 is an 848 foot par 5. Hole 4 from 2023. Hole 17 then is a 972 foot par 5, and that's hole 6 from 2023. So yeah, they've got a handful. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to go watch this hole, Charlie.
Okay.
Hole 7 from 2023. It's now the new hole 18. It's a 520 foot par 3.
That's long. I don't remember
That's
hole
really
7 from last year off the top of my head.
Charlie, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember hardly any of the holes from this tournament last year. I don't think it was that good. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we're chatting about it here. This event was one of the most underwhelming tournament events of the season last year.
The only thing that salvaged this one is that Simon won in crazy fashion. Remember, but Simon's birdied 7 in a row to beat AB, and it was a crazy finish. And yeah, I expect we're probably going to get a crazy finish again this year in MPO, in one way or another. But I agree with you. I think that the course was it's a combination of like where this event falls in the calendar, and like it comes right after Jonesboro, and this course is very Jonesboro-ish, but it's not as good as Jonesboro. And so then you're like kind of just feeling like you're seeing things on repeat, and I don't know, this has never felt like a great fit on the tour, if I'm being perfectly honest. We'll see.
There's
they're
really
making these changes to the course. Apparently, it's playing pretty hard, so that's kind of interesting, right? If we're going to see scores a little bit lower, I just think it's hard for the. So you know what this does have going for it? By far, the best trophy.
I think I know what you're about to say.
By far,
oh, best trophy. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what were you thinking I was going to say.
I'll come back to it, but I want to hit real fast. So, first off, Music City Open, Gibson Guitar was the trophy last season.
They're running it back. I just heard it in the press conference.
And they are running it back. I heard that Gibson was sponsoring, so I assumed that they had.
There's an Ace guitar too.
Excellent trophy. That is incredible.
What would a collector pay for Simon's winning trophy from last year? Simon says it's a $2,500 guitar at retail, but it's custom for this event.
Yeah, right. I think
5,000,
run into
10,000.
I don't think no, not 10. Maybe 5, maybe.
10,000 in 2021, but 5,000 in 2024.
maybe. This event just isn't like hype enough. If Worlds got sponsored, like was in Nashville, and then he got the guitar, now you're talking 10,000. But
okay,
for just a run of the mill elite series, I don't know. So credit here to Music City. A little bit of a knock on Jonesboro. Did you see the MPO trophy?
Yeah, it was like the little plaque with the Arkansas shape.
Did you read what it said?
I did. It said Men's Pro Open, Josh.
And the apostrophe is just an open quotation. It's fat on the bottom and small on the top. Like, it doesn't look right. You got to go check it out.
Okay, I can't say that I noticed the apostrophe, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, someone pointed it out. It looks like an open quote from like a single quote. It's a tough looking trophy. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so, but anyway, I was gonna say what this tournament has going for it: tee pads.
Yes, I'm glad you're bringing this up.
They use the X-Step Pro Turf tee pads, and everyone raves about how good these tee pads are.
Yeah, there was an event here, like a kind of a warm up tournament, and I saw some folks talking about just how amazing the tee pads were. In the post on Facebook from the Music City Open, they said these are becoming standard on tour next year for 2025. Now, I can hear that, and I can also acknowledge that it might not actually happen. It's like Real ID. Do you know about Real ID?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just finally got my Real ID, but they've been saying that you have to have a Real ID like 6 months in the future. The deadline for getting a real ID if you want to fly on a plane is 2021. Oh, no, they pushed it back. They keep pushing it back. That could happen with things like standardizing the T-pads on tour. But I hope that that's true, because I do think that they seem like a really good fit for what is needed in disc golf, which is like you need to have a surface that can hold up in all weather conditions.
Yes.
And that's hard because like everything has problems, right? Concrete has problems. Regular turf definitely has problems. We see all kinds of issues with pavers sometimes, depending on what's used.
I hate pavers.
Why is that?
I find them they're so slick, and then the ground settles and they become uneven. Anyone who builds a course with pavers, just terrible choice.
But the paver guy emailed me a couple years ago.
Okay.
His job is doing pavers, and he's like, they use the wrong pavers. They need to use these kind of pavers, which are the correct surface when they get wet. And he had all the details, and I actually sent it to a couple people who are TDs and are working on building out their courses. I have no idea if anything came of it, but
well, geez, our we have pavers at a local course around here, and
you got to get in touch with the paver guy.
I need to, because when it's wet or snowy, we play on the ground and the grass rather than stepping on the T-pads.
Gotcha. Yeah, and we see that even on the tour, like teeing off next to the T-pad. That's not good. That's not a good look. That's really not a good look. But anyway, they have these great T-pads. We'll see how they do this weekend. The weather looks like it's going to be nice. So a lot of absences this weekend in FPO in particular. Missy Gannon, Owen Scoggins, Valerie Mondahano, Paige Pierce not in the field this weekend. So those are some pretty big names. Kristen feeling like let's just be honest, a heavy favorite coming into the weekend.
Can't blame FPO. I mean, they've been on a grind. If you played the A tier at Persimmon Ridge, they've been playing 6-7 weeks in a row now, without a break. And so because of the major and the A tier, it's definitely been a grind for the FPO players. I'm not surprised to see some players take it off. I'm a little bit surprised because Missy and Owen are typically your grinders. They don't miss anything. And so I was a little bit surprised to see them, but Kristen's still in, and the heads of the committee are taking a break. So I think I'm with you there, Charlie.
Yeah, Owen, neither player played particularly well here last year. Owen especially did not do well. It's a long course. I think it makes a ton of sense, especially leading up to the major. I mean, Champions Cup is what everybody's thinking about, right? This is just a stop before Champions Cup.
Charlie, do you realize we are a week from Champions Cup today?
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Northwood Black 4 rounds, folks.
Let's go.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be a grind.
It is. Yeah, you're gonna have to have a short memory out there. Let's get to our picks. I want to rip through these quick. You taking Kristen?
Yeah, I'm taking Kristen.
Who else you got?
You taking Kristen?
Yeah, I'm taking Kristen.
Okay.
I've got Holland and Evelina in my 2 and 3 spots. How about you?
I've got Evelina and Haley King.
Haley King.
Yeah, she's kind of due where she plays bad for a couple months and then pops up and shoots a crazy round.
I clowned on you last time you did something like this, and then Valerie Mondahano very much made the podium. Yeah. So you're saying she's due. Well, we'll see.
She's due. It's what Haley does. So yeah, give me Haley in the 3, but Evelina should shred here. Course got longer.
I'm taking super chalk picks right now, to be honest. But this is the kind of course, especially with the heavy hitters and FBO missing. Who is going to outplay? Sure, I could see Haley. I could see Ella on a good weekend, but otherwise, I just don't see where it's happening. Macy Valdez played really well here last year, but I don't know. She's been a little out of form, and she's pregnant, and it's hard for me to see her replicating what we saw last year. It'd be awesome if it happened.
Yeah.
How about on the MPO side, Josh?
MPO. Get ready for some more chalk, Charlie.
Oh yeah.
I've got Gannon Burr in the 3 spot. Picked him to win last weekend, and he was close to podium, but yeah. Just he seems a little often with the veterans baskets. I think you're a great point. So Gannon in the 3, give me Calvin in the 2. I think he's just going to keep chugging along, and this is another course that feels like it's going to continue the momentum. Give me AB to get a 4th, though. Anthony Barella missed the win by 1 stroke last year, and it was because of the blow-up hole on hole 13, where he ran the long circle 2 putt, completely missed it, airballs it, goes down the hill, and then has another edge of circle putt that he then missed. 3 putts, drops him down. Simon wins it from the chase card thanks to that birdie streak. I like Anthony Barella here and cleaning up those mental mistakes that he made. So give me AB to get his 4th.
All right. I've also got AB winning it, Josh.
Wow, let's go.
So I said this last week, or maybe on the Tuesday reacts. He's an auto podium right now.
He is.
You have to put him on the podium, or you're just giving away points. Like, until further notice, he gets Kristen honors right now in MPO, which is pretty impressive, because I think he's the only guy that gets it. Like, Gannon is close, but I still think you could argue against picking him on your podium. But AB is just absolutely on a heater. And combine that with the fact that he should have won this tournament last year, and his skill set is that much higher now. There's a video on his Instagram of him throwing a Luna on like a fucking 550-foot hole, and he parks it, and then hilariously he throws the putt super hard into the middle of the chains, and it spits right back out.
No. It's a preview. Oh boy.
I've got Gannon in my 2 spot, and I was gonna put Calvin on my podium, but I think there's just a little too many forehands out here.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'm gonna fade Calvin. I'm gonna put Simon on my podium, which is not just a play from last year, but he was 5th at Jonesboro, Josh.
And that's
like
true.
coming into he's rounded into form, and like he was magnificent on this course in that final round last year.
All right.
I got him on the podium. And it makes sense. Wouldn't it make sense for him to he might win this. Just run it back, win it, get the guitar again.
Get a second guitar.
He's double shredding.
Go take paternity leave.
He's at the piano bar, double playing. And then he's going to go home and hang with his family. I mean, I can totally see it.
He needs a guitar for the other kid.
That's right.
He's got to get one per kid. So
Exactly.
I like the pick.
As you mentioned, it goes from a little under 10,000 feet to over 11,000 feet in MPO. It's an 8,700-foot course last year for FPO, going up to 9,500 feet, par increasing for both divisions. 2 strokes in MPO, 1 stroke in FPO. Again, these are tentative. There may still be some changes coming to the course over the next 24 hours. So we will see. That is going to do it for this edition of the Upshot. Did I miss anything, Josh?
I don't think so. Okay. I think that's it.
Make sure you get your picks in and check out all the picks from all season long at discgolf.ultiworld.com/upshot-picks. If you get yourself a subscription, you can join us for the Rapid Reacts on Sunday in the Discord, and you can also start making your picks and pick against me and Josh. You think we're off base with our completely chalk picks this week? Prove us wrong. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll be back with you on Tuesday on the Upshot as we get ready for Champions Cup. Josh, we got to do some Rapid Reacts during Champions Cup, too.
We do. Yes, we do.
I don't know if we're going to do dailies, but we'll definitely do a check-in after round 2.
Yeah, at least the halfway check-in.
So TBD yet for now on when our episodes will come out next week. We may just do the one show and kind of react to MCO and get you ready for the Champions Cup since it starts on Thursday, but we'll let you know on Tuesday. That's going to do it for today's edition of the Upshot. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you next week right here on the show.